Why were you holding his collar?
Just because I sit here, you think I don't know what goes on?
Jealous much?
The most important thing when it comes to jealousy and feeling bad and feeling maybe insecure, whatever's going on with you, just say so. There was a moment during a threesome that I was having with my husband where I looked over at him and I just felt super proud of what he was doing, and she was smiling and he was smiling. It was a really kind of nice affirming moment.
A nice affirming moment? If your partner even flirted with somebody else, would you be able to be so calm and, well, nice about it? I wish, right? Samantha is polyamorous, which has a lot of different meanings to different people, but it translates into many loves. And poly or not, sometimes even Samantha feels jealous. It's a human emotion. Some say it's an instinct that we developed to survive. But today, jealousy can be better described as a product of modern life. Facebook posts, Instagram likes, we're inundated with triggers that can, if left unchecked, cause relationship strife. Dr. Miriam Ahmed is a Toronto-based clinical psychologist, and she explains what happens when we feel jealous.
So from an evolutionary perspective, you can almost view that as if we were back in the jungle and we are surrounded by a threatening environment. However, in this day and age, that threatening environment or our perception of a threat might actually be us being in a bar where we see our partner having a conversation with another person. And once that fight or flight is activated and we're feeling jealous, we then start to perceive that situation from that lens. We also become vigilant to noticing other threat in the environment. So we might start misinterpreting our partner's neutral behavior. It also limits our ability to listen, think clearly, and really to have a constructive conversation and respond calmly.
You've probably been there before. You're at a bar, you see your partner laughing and smiling and enjoying themselves with someone who's not you. And all of a sudden, you start to spiral.
I'm freaking out!
What is this marriage about?
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
Jealousy is normal, but it's all about how we deal with it. Ayurvedic practitioner and yoga therapist Nicole Mahaber has a few ideas of how we can take the power back when that mean roommate in our head goes off the rails.
So basically, whenever we feel like our emotions are dispersing, so it could be the energy of feeling jealousy or even anxiety, a really great way to bring that energy back into the body is to close the circuit of the body. So whether we're crossing our legs or we're holding our wrist, and that actually holds energy or a seal or a lock of the energy in our system. So when we do that just for a short period of time, it just allows us to reconnect to ourselves.
Nicole says that exercise is also about acupressure points. The wrist hold activates two main acupressure points used in traditional Chinese medicine to reduce anxiety and calm the mind. Nicole says that this exercise can also help trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. What the heck is that? Basically, there are two main divisions of the autonomic nervous system that you need to know about: the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. In the simplest terms, the sympathetic nervous system is the one we've all heard about. It's responsible for fight or flight. So this is the version of you who's getting up to run like hell from a threat, or getting ready to throw down. The opposite of that is the parasympathetic nervous system. This is responsible for rest and digest. This is the version of you after a rejuvenating yoga session or a week-long beach vacation. One can dream. It's not just humans who feel this pain. A study out of UC Davis focused on male TT monkeys. Now, you're probably wondering, why TT monkeys? Well, it turns out they're monogamous. Oh, to be a TT monkey. Researchers paired female TT monkey partners with an unknown male. Cue the drama. They found that the male partners actually had more activation in two parts of their brain. One that's associated with bonding in primates, and the other that's associated with pain in humans. Hold on, but what about the other person in this relationship? Can I just blame it all on them? It's healthy to talk about feelings of jealousy with your partner, but it can become problematic when we start to avoid a situation or we start asking for reassurance. The way we communicate directly relates to how we feel, and sometimes our thoughts and our emotions can get the better of us. Dr. Ahmed calls it a thinking bias.
So an example of a thinking bias would be mind reading, where you assume that you know what your partner or the other person is thinking without really having sufficient evidence. So an example will be, he's going out tonight, he must be up to something. Another thinking bias is personalizing, where you really attribute all the information to yourself. So she said she's tired, it means she doesn't want to see me. Discounting positives is another thinking bias, where you completely ignore anything positive in the relationship and you only focus on some of the negative aspects.
So our thinking bias is essentially our lens, the way we perceive something, or the way we distort what we see from the true facts. But just like we give power to our thoughts, we also give power to our emotions.
When we feel jealous, we also have a difficult time tolerating that emotion. And we tend to use that emotional intensity as evidence that there really must be something for me to be worried about. That's exactly why I'm feeling jealous.
We think that our emotions and the thoughts that created them, again, are facts, when they may not be to somebody else.
So really remind yourself that I can take steps to soothe my emotion and regulate my emotion and then approach the situation.
Regulating our emotions sounds amazing, but how do we do it?
So a simple breath technique is just to equilibrate the breath, and that means to allow us to breathe in and breathe out in a way that isn't scattered or staggered when we're feeling emotions of jealousy or anxiety.
Nicole suggests picking a number where you feel like you're taking a big, slow, deep breath, and then using that number so your inhales and your exhales are the same length. But what if that feeling of jealousy, if properly channeled, could actually benefit our relationships? Well, remember our polyamorous friend Samantha?
Nice affirming moments.
She's a relationship coach and polyamorous advocate. She's been married to her husband since 2004, and 2 years later, they decide to have an open relationship. She's been with her current boyfriend since 2015, and he currently lives with the married couple. Samantha says being in an open relationship has actually improved her marriage.
We have been forced to have some deep and dark conversations. Some of it has had to do with things that seemed at first like it was just our sex life, but really it was more about personal intimacies and personality clashes that maybe we had that we hadn't recognized. So we're a lot more attached now. Here's me, obviously, and husband and boyfriend here. We were on a beach.
So what can people in monogamous relationships learn from people in the poly community?
There's this word in the community called compersion, and compersion is basically the opposite of jealousy. It's basically that idea that you can feel happy for your partner while they are with someone else. And I like to think of compersion as something that you can apply in lots of situations. Like if a friend gets a new job, I'm like, oh, I can feel compersion for you even if maybe I'm unemployed at the time or something.
Of course, there are times when that alarm bell goes off for good reason, and you shouldn't ignore it. But if you know that jealousy is creeping up for you more because of your self-worth than an actual relationship threat, hopefully some of these tips can help you distinguish fact from fiction. What all three people seem to agree on is that you have the power to control how jealousy affects you. It's not easy, but with some work and practice and a lot of self-love, we can all get to a place where jealousy can be a pretty useful tool. It can show us how much we love and care for our partner. It can show us where we need to love ourselves more. And that, well, that's kind of beautiful.